When people ask what SAFE does, I say we provide direct services for people who've been hurt by violence, and we change the way people in institutions think and behave. We serve by building safety, support resilience through counseling and peer support, shelter, housing, advocacy, and so many more services. And then we create the change we want through prevention and education, helping others understand how best to support survivors, including how to change their own practices, rules, and even laws at times. So both service and change, that's the promise that we will keep up.
Every day, SAFE sees overlapping forms of violence, and these cycles of violence are difficult to break. Any one person may need multiple services to heal. SAFE provides shelter to families and children escaping abuse, support to at-risk families, foster care services, housing and basic needs to victims of human trafficking, and large-scale prevention services aimed at ending dating violence, child abuse, and sexual harassment. SAFE also provides counseling and therapeutic services to survivors and their families, as well as support and forensic exams to victims of sexual assault. SAFE has a long and proud history of making a difference in changing lives in Central Texas.
When any kid is growing up, they will face adversity and stress. And in good environments, there will be adults nearby to buffer that stress and to bring their stress back down to baseline. And kids who are stressed chronically and they don't have that buffering system and those stress levels remain really high, there's a lot of evidence out there that shows that that can affect their growing brains. So some examples would be neglect or physical or emotional abuse or witnessing violence. Anything that can cause a child's fight or flight response hormones to increase, and if they're not buffered down by a safe environment, cause harm in their bodies over time. In the short term, as a pediatrician, we may see regressed developmental milestones. So a child who was once potty trained may now start wetting the bed. And they may become more regressed in their social interactions, or they may outwardly express aggression towards other people. And in the long term, we can start to see the systemic response of the body to those stress hormones. So that's where you start to see heart disease or obesity or depression or anxiety. Kids who are experiencing toxic stress younger are higher risk of suicidality. So there's real lifelong consequences. And the interesting thing is that the earlier we intervene, the better chance we have at impacting their life trajectory.
SAFE provides an environment where children can heal through housing services that provide safety and stability, counseling and therapy, social-emotional learning at our on-site school, prevention programs to help build healthy relationships, and after-school and summer programs built around the needs of the children. SAFE also supports parents who have experienced trauma as children themselves, helping them to be better parents.
Our family shelter is for people who are in the most danger, who are at the highest level of danger. They have to be behind the gates, literally behind our gates. And what we have is a whole bunch of rooms, individual rooms with shared living, dining, and kitchen. And they all come in with their families. Today we have about 88 people, 57 of them are children, and they come in and we provide services. It's time for them to really connect to resources and get what they need in order to put their lives back together, to start that process of healing.
We serve kids ages 0 to 22 years old, and they have experienced numerous amounts of abuse and neglect, and we've also seen a growing number of kids who've been sexually exploited and trafficking. That's an unfortunate increase that we've seen with the kids that we serve. And so they all live here. It can be anywhere from a couple of days to a couple of weeks to all the way up to 3 years. That's the longest day kiddo that we have on this campus right now. So they live in these different cottages, and that's where our offices are. The biggest chunk of our kids come from Child Protective Services, and so they reach out to our admissions coordinator and they just say, hey, do you guys have a bed for this kid? We also can take kids that are here through juvenile probation services or respite through Austin Travis County Integral Care, but CPS is the big chunk of our kids who come to live with us.
SafeLine is a hotline where anyone in the community can call when they or someone they know doesn't feel safe or has questions about any of the issues that we deal with, including child abuse, domestic violence, sexual assault, or sexual exploitation.
We are hard at work determining contingency and safety plans to ensure continuation of our critical safety net services, ensuring continued safety and support for the over 1,000 people that live with us in our shelters and housing programs, maintaining our 24/7 response for rape survivors in the immediate aftermath of a sexual assault, and making sure that our Safe Line stays open for people in our community who need support, because in times of isolation, people who are not safe in their homes are in the most danger.
The biggest thing that we're doing is really trying to be mindful of how we as adults present during this time. These are kids that have experienced a lot of trauma, and so if I come in panicked, then they're going to feed off of that and they're going to be panicked. We've come up with a rotation schedule to share shared spaces such as this, so there's not a lot of cross-contamination.
Kids are at home. We're trying to make sure that we provide different activities and support, and then a lot of people are losing their jobs right now, particularly folks who are in the service industry here in our community, and so we're trying really hard to make sure that we are providing everything.
We're anticipating that in a couple weeks we'll begin to hear from families that tell us how afraid they are about being isolated at home with the person that's hurting them.
We're making sure that people have that safety net as much as possible, particularly during this time.
Children who are isolated with abusive parents are in danger. Women stuck at home with violent partners are in danger. And we are here for them. That is our job. That is why our doors stay open.